Good morning. So let's start the daily current affairs discussion. The first topic that we will take today is on the global positioning system (GPS). One of the few commonplace technology that has had such a profound effect on urban, military, scientific, and civilian domain is the GPS or global positioning system, which has redefined our sense of location and affected numerous industries worldwide. Positioning system achievement of Indian in science and technology. So what this GPS is? So GPS was established in 1973 by the Department of Defense in the United States. The Department of Defense established the GPS in USA in the year 1973. Okay, so that means initially GPS was created for use by the Defense Department. Okay, and consists of three primary segments. So one is area, one is control, one is user. Three areas, three specific segments. One is area, one is control, third is the user. So coming to the area, 25 satellites in 6 orbit that make up the space segment provide worldwide coverage, enabling receivers to simultaneously receive signals from at least 4 satellites, a basic requirement for precise positioning. So a minimum of 4 satellites are required to provide the minimum positioning. That was what. So with the objective of providing the exact position, Okay, the 25 satellites in 6 orbit that make up the space segment provide worldwide coverage, enabling receivers to simultaneously receive signals from at least 4 satellites, a basic requirement for precise positioning. Each of the 6 orbit has 4 satellites at all times, and they are all positioned 220,020 kilometers above Earth. Every satellite spend a day completing 2 orbits. So in a day they complete 2 orbits. Control under the direction of ground-based stations, the control segment maintains the 220 standard positioning services (SPS) standards while guaranteeing satellite performance and signal accuracy. Globally, key stations oversee and maintain the integrity of the system. So the one particular key system will supervise the integrity of the system. Users and application developers worldwide might expect different features from the GPS system thanks to the SPS standards. And the user segment is made up of several industries ranging from agriculture to military activities. It is estimated that there will be 6.5 billion global navigation satellite system devices globally in 2021. 6.5 billion. And this number is projected to rise to 10 billion by 2031, demonstrating the pervasiveness of this technology, how the technology became popular and widespread. So this is revealed from the users number, so which is going to reach 10 billion by 2030, which was 6.5 billion in 2021. So by 2031 this number will grow to 10 billion. So in 10 years there will be nearly double. GPS functionality: GPS receivers receive and triangulate radio signals provided by satellite at certain frequency L1, L2 frequency at 50 bits second, which allow for precise location determination in 3 dimensions of space and 1 dimension of time. 3 in space, 1 in time. Accuracy and modification: GPS computation are extremely precise because error correction such as realistic effects Okay, so atomic clocks are used by satellite to keep exact time for GPS. These clocks are essential because minute timing discrepancies have the potential to create significant location inaccuracies. As there GNSS in other country, so this global positioning system, okay, or global navigation satellite system, as it is popularly called as GNSS. GNSS stands for Global Navigation Satellite System. In addition to GPS, a number of nations run their own global navigation satellite system. Australia, China, European Union, India, Japan, South Korea, Russia, and the United Kingdom now run these kinds of systems. So India is also one among them. Although it started by USA, subsequently Russia has one such system. European Union has its own system. Russia has its own system. China has its own system. Japan has developed its own, and India and Australia and South Korea, they have also developed it along with United Kingdom. Global system includes China's Baidu, European Union's Galileo, and Russia's GLONASS. So apart from the GPS, the other country who provide global system includes the Baidu of China, okay, the GLONASS or the Galileo of European Union, and GLONASS of Russia. Indian is not a global system, UK is not a global system, Australia is not a global system, Japan is not a global system, but they provide in their own country and in the peripheral region. In 2006, the Indian government proposed the Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System (IRNSS), which was subsequently renamed as Navigation with Indian Constellation or NAVIC. 7 satellites make up its space segment, 3 of which are in the geostationary orbit and 4 of which are in the geosynchronous orbit. We have 7 satellites 3 in geostationary, and 4 in geosynchronous orbit. By May 2023, 4 satellites at the very least would help with ground-based navigation. The master control facility are situated in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, and Hassan in Karnataka. Newer satellites will communicate in the L1 band. The NAVIC satellite employ a rubidium atomic clock to send data in the L5 and S band. Okay, we also use this rubidium atomic clocks to make it more accurate. The Indian Space Research Organization and the Airport Authority of India created and constructed the GPS-aided augmented navigation or open system, which is also operated by India, its own, for the use of the airports. Safety of like civil aviation applications catering to the Indian airspace is called as Gagan, and correction and integrity message for the GPS are Gagan main goal. Gagan is confined to the air travels. GPS is a very useful tool. It is used during adventure. GPS devices are perfect for water navigation. Though it has some limitation, it does not consider as a big error, as these errors are only nano errors. GPS is the most advanced, accurate, commercially available and multi-use satellite navigation system that has never ever existed. In a military application, it is the only system relied upon in providing data to very expensive guided weapons. So, GPS has brought a big revolution. Okay, so so India has not lagged behind because India also joined in its foray to develop its own navigation satellite system called the uh, okay the NAVIC. Okay, earlier it was IRNSS, popularly known as NAVIC in Indian standard, and the Airport Authority of India developed the Gagan system for air travel or the monitoring the providing the GPS aided geo augmentation navigation to be used by the airports in India. Then benefits and challenges related to simultaneous election or one nation one election are the popular slogan right now. Okay. Then, so one nation one election. The Indian government formed a six-member team in September 2023 with the awareness responsibility of investigating the viability of holding simultaneous election for the Lok Sabha, State Assembly and the local bodies. This is the first step towards election reform. As the electoral reform process, the demand for one nation one election is gaining momentum, and to properly find the modalities for this, so the government has formed a six-member committee. Okay, the six-member committee headed by the ex-president Ramnath Kovind. So it will make a review or in-depth study of the feasibility and the challenges of this one nation one election issue. What are the election held simultaneously? So the concept of simultaneous holding election for the Lok Sabha, the lower house of the parliament, and the state legislative assembly and the local government units like municipality and panchayat throughout the nation is known as simultaneous election. That means election will be held simultaneously to all the bodies. So from parliament to the panchayat, election will be held for all at a time. So the purpose behind this notion is to coordinate the election cycle and this many level of government with the goal of holding all of the election at the same time, ideally once every 5 years. India's past simultaneous election to the state assembly and Lok Sabha were held in tandem throughout India's past four general elections. Currently, Sikkim, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh assembly elections coincide with the Lok Sabha election normally, but other states, so they are held differently. So recently 5 states went to election and the results are declared. So in April, May, the election to the assembly in that Lok Sabha will be there all over the country for the general election. And election to 4 other states including Odisha will be also simultaneously held in the period. But the government's plan is that to go for holding election to all the assembly, state assembly along with the Lok Sabha as well as the municipality and the panchayat simultaneously. That means okay. So a substantial amount of money is needed to hold election at different level. Election synchronization could combine these costs, saving the government a significant amount of money. Enhanced administration, concurrent election will simplify the development of security personnel and administrative staff, reducing interference from election-related tasks, and enabling officials to concentrate more regularly on development and governance. Continuity in policies. Since election could take place at the same time, the model code of conduct would prevent as many disruptions to policy implementation, resulting in more consistent and sustainable government. Because so the model code of conduct which interrupts the work will be for a particular period, that once in 5 years. So there will be interruption for 3 to 4 months. But what happened? The model code of conducts come into force so many times within the 5-year period because elections are held at different period to different bodies. So that led the government to go for the model code of conduct. And once the model code of conduct is implemented, so all the developmental work come to a grinding halt. So since election could take place at the same time, the model code of conduct would prevent as many disruptions to policy implementation, resulting in more consistent and sustained government. Increase voter turnout. By reducing the number of elections annually, it may be possible to counteract voter fatigue and boost turnout, which could result in more representative outcome and greater credibility for elected officials. Because so many times election took place in 5 years period, one for the parliament, one for the assembly, one for the panchayat institutions or urban local body, at least thrice, and within a period of 5 years, so people feel frustrated to go to election so many times. The election is held at once, so it will facilitate, no doubt, it will facilitate that it will encourage more participation because going to the booth once, so they will be able to elect all the representatives. So the people will be, the voters will be encouraged to go to the polling booth. So this will enhance. Class hello, class कौन है हाँ भाई क्लास रे अछि पर कथा भी ମୁଁ କଲ୍ କରିବି, ମୁଁ 8 ତାରିଖ। Okay, so enhance accountability. Voters who participate in several level of government are making politicians answerable for their deeds at multiple levels, which promote a more extensive accountability framework. Decrease polarization by elevating national problems to the fore and promoting more inclusive campaigning and policy making simultaneously. Election will lessen the impact of local, caste-based and communal politics. So related difficulties, constitutional amendment, a number of clauses in the constitution must be changed in order to synchronize election, because elections laws are different for the parliament, for the state assembly and for the panchayat raj, and also the authorities are also different, because for the panchayat raj municipalities there is a state election commission. So in case we want to synchronize the election for all, we have to make a number of constitutional amendment. Significant legal obstacles arise from shifting tenure rules, dissolving legislative body and lining of election cycles. For instance, the term and dissolution of Lok Sabha and State Assembly are governed by Article 83(2), 85(2), 172(1) and 174(2), which permit premature dissolution under specific conditions and would need to be repealed in order to allow for simultaneous election. Federalism issues. The federal structure of India consists of several states with a diverse political environment. State must come to a broad consensus before moving towards simultaneous election, even though they may have different political goals. Okay. Additionally, as local government is a state matter and requires adjustment to a variety of state laws, 56 legislative provisions and 28 states, Panchayat Raj Acts and Municipal Acts, there are obstacles to connecting general and local body election with the general election. As I told, because for conducting this local body election, we have a state election commission and the provisions are different, and so in case you want to synchronize, then under whose authority, jurisdiction and control these will be held. That's a big issue also. So synchronization is a difficult process, but it should be discussed threadbare to know the positive and negative implications of this. So okay, so the federal structure of India, okay, so needs all these changes. Technology and infrastructure, Purchasing, maintaining and guaranteeing dependability present difficulties when upgrading the large-scale technical infrastructure such as electronic voting machines, because right now election is conducted in the EVM. So for this, definitely, a lot of EVMs need to be used, because EVM, in case it is through ballots, they can print more ballots. But as the elections are right now being conducted the EVM, so in case we synchronize all the elections, so the government has to purchase so many EVMs, additional EVMs, to conduct election simultaneously for all, from the Lok Sabha to the Gram Panchayat. Okay, and also VVPAT, because right now voter verifiable paper trail, audit trail devices are also being attached to the EVM to bring more transparency to the election process. Legal council and by-elections and elections to legislative council might be excluded if all elections were synchronized, potentially creating gap in representation and governance. Diverse political landscape. The multi-party system in India encompasses a range of regional concerns and political philosophies. Election held at the same time may ignore local concern and reduce the influence of smaller and local parties. What is the Law Commission's position regarding simultaneous election? In August 2018, the Law Commission presented a draft report on simultaneous elections that looked at the difficulties and suggested way to hold election in India simultaneously. A suggestion structure for election timing harmonization. So cut down on election cycles suggests that election be held twice every 5 years. Organizing all elections in a calendar year in the event that holding elections simultaneously is not practical suggests organizing all elections to take place during the same calendar year. Constructive vote of no confidence motion suggested as a substitute for no confidence motion. This motion would guarantee trust in the different administration prior to toppling the current one. Then Hung House resolution. The Hung House resolution offers a procedure to resolve cases in which no party has enough votes to form a government. It gives the largest party or a coalition a chance to try forming a government prior to the midterm election. Timely disqualification recommends changing anti-defection legislation to guarantee that disqualification disputes are promptly resolved by the presiding officer within 6 months. The Law Commission and the group entrusted with examining the viability of simultaneous election meet in late October 2023 to talk about the timeline for coordinating assembly and parliamentary election by 2029. Okay, so this is what the One Nation One Election program is being taken into consideration and being discussed very seriously by the government at present, because it is being realized that this will no doubt bring a lot of change in the electoral reform process. If this is but before implementing, this needs to be thoroughly taken into care. So India needs to take a cautious, consensual approach to achieving simultaneous election, weighting the advantages of simplified governance against the complexity of many regional dynamics. A synchronized electoral process that respects federal structure and increases administrative efficiency can be achieved through small steps, stakeholder engagement, and flexible frameworks. Then the next topic is about 7 South Asian countries have at least 241 invasive plant species. This is an environment and biodiversity. 241 plants that were brought to South Asia countries over the time have been identified by scientists from India and 6 other nations as invasive alien species, or IAS. Important information: this is the first attempt to create a comprehensive inventory of South Asian invasive alien species. With 185 of these plant species, India topped the list. So out of these 241 invasive species, in India 185 have been identified. The invasive alien species are introduced animals and plants that have a detrimental effect on the native biodiversity, ecosystem services, or public health when they are placed in areas that are not part of their normal range. They pose one of the greatest risks to biodiversity and the world's food security. South Asia received the greatest number of invasive plants introduced from America's South, from South America 142, America's North 66, and Africa 42. Impact of invasive alien species. Climate change exacerbates the effects of the invasive alien species. Numerous alien species find it easier to establish themselves and expand, and climate change opens new avenues for them to become invasive. They may lessen the ability of metropolitan communities, agricultural system, and natural habitat to withstand climate change. On the other hand, habitats become less resilient to biological invasions, security, and livelihood as a result of climate change. Specifics of the different invasive plants. The Asteraceae family of plants is responsible for the majority of invasive species found in the area. This family includes plants such as sunflower, marigold, dahlia, dandelion, and the lettuce. Families like the Solanaceae and the Fabaceae comes next. Among invasive species, Acacia is the most abundant genera among the tree. The family Fabaceae includes the Vilayati Prospix zilfola, and that grows in Delhi. It flowers like anything but is invasive, destroying the native species. Then the Ladakh greenhouse. Ladakh developed an innovative technique to grow vegetables under different circumstances. Important information: the Union Territory of Ladakh has developed a novel technology called the Ladakh greenhouse to grow vegetables year-round in restricted amount under carefully regulated conditions. This new form of Ladakh greenhouse, a passive solar greenhouse, was created by researchers at the Defense Institute of Higher Altitude Research for nearby farmers. Since Ladakh is a free climate, growing crops and vegetables in the winter is difficult because the temperature frequently falls below 20 degrees centigrade. Farmers in the area can now cultivate vegetables even during the worst winter months when temperature can drop below -30 degrees centigrade, thanks to the adoption of the innovative technology. To date, Ladakh has built 1,875 of these greenhouses at an estimated cost of 43.78 crore, enabling farmers to cultivate a variety of green leafy vegetables including tomatoes, cauliflower, and cabbage during the hard winter months. So this greenhouse provides the ideal temperature for the growth of the plants. Then the Google Gemini. Users worldwide can now access Google Gemini, a new multimodal general artificial intelligence model. The Google Gemini, what it is? There are three sizes available for Google Gemini: the Ultra, Pro, and the Nano. It is thought of as Google's response to ChatGPT, which has led the way to general AI thus far. So ChatGPT is an AI chatbot that can translate, create natural language, and respond to queries. Generative pre-trained transformers is what the GPT stands for. ChatGPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, GPT. With 175 billion parameters, GPT-3 was the largest language model in use at the time of its death in 2020 when it was introduced. GPT-4, the most recent version, has 1 trillion parameters and may be accessed via ChatGPT Plus or the Bing Chat. Due to Gemini's multimodal nature, it can comprehend, process, and function with text, code, audio, image, and video, among other types of data. Conversely, ChatGPT is currently unable to function with video. Additionally, it has a lot of more power than current models. Gemini is capable of comprehending, elucidating, and producing top-notch code in most widely used programming languages worldwide, including the Python, Java, C++, and the Go. Why are these three sizes for Gemini? Gemini will be offered in several sizes so that it can be scaled to meet requirements. The largest and most powerful variant, Gemini Ultra, is designed for extremely complicated tasks. Gemini Pro will perform best when scaling for regular users worldwide across a variety of jobs. One device task will be handled by Gemini Nano. Then the next topic is the UN Charter Article 99. In an attempt to establish a truce, the UN Secretary General has invoked Article 99 of the UN Charter in response to Israel's continuous military attack on the Gaza Strip, notably in its southern sector. What about the Charter Article 99? United Nations foundational document is the UN Charter, signed by the member countries. All member countries have signed the UN Charter before joining the organization. So this is the importance of the UN Charter. The UN can act on a wide range of topics based on the authorities granted through it. UN member states are obliged to abide by the Charter because it is regarded as an international treaty. According to Article 99, the Secretary General may bring any issue that he believes it would seen as a discretionary power of the Secretary General. Then the Pompe disease, after fighting the illness for 24 years, India's first patient with Pompe disease passed away yesterday, some day before yesterday. So Pompe disease, sometimes called the glycogen storage disease type 2, is an uncommon hereditary condition brought on by a lack of the enzyme acid alpha glucosidase or GAA. This enzyme is essential for the conversion of glycogen to glucose in all lysosomes. Estimates of this prevalence range from 1 to 40,000 to 1 to 30,000, 3 lakh live births. Several important symptoms include muscle weakness. One of the main symptoms of Pompe illness is the progressive muscular weakness. It impairs smooth and skeletal muscles, making it difficult to move around and carry out regular tasks. Breathing problems can be caused by weakness in the respiratory muscles, particularly when exercising or even just resting down. Motor skill delay. Children may take longer to reach motor milestones like sitting, crawling and walking. There are differences in the degree of motor skill delay, and some people may never reach specific motor milestones, means their mobility may be restricted. Motor skill is the ability of the human being to move around or the movement activity. So this is specific motor milestones they will be unable to achieve. Long-term muscular weakness and decreased mobility can have a degenerative effect on bones, resulting in skeletal abnormalities and joint contractures. Complications with the respiratory system. One possible effect is the weakening of the diaphragm and other breathing muscles, breathlessness, respiratory infections, and in extreme situation, respiratory failure are possible side effects of the patient. Cardiac participation. Complications may arise from Pompe disease related damage to the cardiac muscles. Consequences for day-to-day living. Because of their breathing restrictions and weak muscles, patients may find it difficult to carry out everyday tasks to their own. It could be required to use respiratory support equipment and wheelchairs among other assistive devices. Diagnosis. The activity of the defective enzyme acid alpha glucosidase is measured using enzyme assay. Genetic testing finds changes in the GAA gene that cause the problem. Clinical assessment takes the patient's medical history and symptoms into account. Therapy. Although there is not a cure for the Pompe disease at this time, there are treatments that can help patients manage their symptoms and live better. The conventional treatment is called the enzyme replacement therapy, which involves infusing the missing enzyme to reduce the accumulation of the glycogen. But lot of research need to be done in this domain. So to find the cure for this disease or the treatment for this disease, or can the development, because this is a very rare disease which affects very few, but as it is affecting, so this need to be it needs to do research on this. So what do you understand by moral integrity and professional efficiency in the context of corporate governance in India? Illustrate with suitable example. The term corporate governance describes the set of guidelines, procedure and policies that regulate a company in order to keep it from becoming overly greedy and to make sure that it is run responsibly and openly. Moral integrity and professional efficiency are two fundamental concepts that direct moral behavior and conscientious management in Indian business governance. Moral integrity, adding to strong ethical beliefs and principles in company processes, is referred to as moral integrity in corporate governance. It entails behaving honorably, openly, fairly, and responsibly, in addition to abiding by the law and doing what is ethically correct. An example of moral integrity is when a business discloses its financial result truthfully, even if it means admitting a drop in earning or facing financial difficulties. Professional efficiency. In the context of corporate governance, professional efficiency refers to the efficient and accountable administrations of a business asset and activities. Process optimization, risk management and decision making that balances the interest of all stakeholders with the goal of maximizing value of stakeholders are all part of it. As an illustration, using the newest technology and digital tool can greatly increase professional effectiveness. In conclusion, it can be said business that exhibit moral rectitude and competent management are more likely to retain their good name, draw in outside capital, and further India's general social and economic advancement. Then coming to the MCQs, regarding the phenomenon of tropical cyclone, consider the following statement. They only emerge in the area between the equator and the Tropic of Cancer. Okay, that's okay. They typically form over the warm ocean surface in the summertime under the intertropical convergence zone. They are among the processes that transfer surface thermal energy to the equator to the pole. So 1 and 2 are correct, 3 is incorrect. Examine the following claim on the Asola Sanctuary. The few remaining sections of the Delhi range is located in this protected area. It has a great deal of potential for developing programs for nature interpretation and conservation education. Both 1 and 2 are right. Examine the following claims regarding the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. It is a United Nations Specialized Organization, UNESCO, right? So it is the only UN organization tasked with overseeing every facet of education. Both 1 and 2 are correct here. The reference to the Monetary Policy Committee considers the following statement. Its responsibility to set the benchmark policy rate or repo rate needed to keep inflation within the designated target range, right? In order to establish a statutory and institutional foundation, the MPC, the Indian Constitution, has been amended. No. 3 members will constitute a quorum for the meeting. So this is also 2 and 3 are incorrect. Only 1 is correct. Okay. So only 1. So 1 is correct. The PSR J10325804 made headlines recently. It is one of the pollsters. The case of Cox and King versus SFP Private Limited made headlines recently, in which the Supreme Court concept is invoked in this particular case. Okay, so in this case, it is the group of company doctrine was discussed in this particular issue. Which issue was discussed? Group of company doctrine. Recently, the Gemini model was in news. It is associated with it was associated with the artificial intelligence, AI. B. Then consider the following statement regarding the Copilified zone. It is a 300 km long and 50 km wide alignment situated near the Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand border in India. Okay, it is close to the Himalayan frontal thrust. It is a seismologically active area falling in the highest seismic hazard zone 1. So 1 is correct only. Which of the following institution organization led the global cooling burst 2023? It was released by the UNEP or United Nations Environment Program. So answer is B. Global Drought Snapshot Report, which was recently in news, is published by the United Convention on Combat Desertification. So A is the right answer for question number 10. So thank you for watching. Keep watching regularly to update yourself.